legendary comedy club, the Village Underground in New York City. This is Sirius XM's Unmasked with special guest Jim Norton. Jim is the co-host of the Opie with Jim Norton show, a New York Times best-selling author, and he's currently on his nationwide stand-up comedy tour, Mouth Full of Shame. Sirius XM and the Village Underground are proud to introduce Jim Norton. And now, here's your host of Unmasked, Ron Bennington.
Jim Norton.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice. That always humiliates me. Like, whenever I hear credits, I get so embarrassed. Like, when comedians bring me on, I don't want credits. I'm going to say, your next act is a regular here, because I just get so embarrassed by credits.
Because you're embarrassed of the work, or?
Well, I hadn't actually thought of that angle, but now, yes, that too.
Well, you were just telling me before we came up here about the movie that you and Patrice were in that you still haven't seen.
Yeah, it's called Furry Vengeance. Dude, shut the fuck up, you're gonna get us fired. Okay, we have the same manager. The director, the first time we met the director, I don't even remember what the guy's name was, but we sit in this kitchen, like the set kitchen, and Patrice was just being so rude to the guy. I felt really, because that guy's not what he dreamt of as a director either. There's something, he's watched Dr. Strangelove. That's what I'm going to do. And now he's fucking directing, Brendan Fraser in a talking squirrel film. And Patrice was just, like that sound he would make when he was displeased. And that was a really, it was fun. I'm glad we did it, you know. But I think he wasn't well at the time.
No, and then that ended up killing him.
Yeah, it did catch up with him. Part of me, even though I loved Patrice, I hope that shitty movie is the last thing he thought of.
I like that you put in, even though I love Patrice. But that is always the relationship that you've had with your friends, that if we didn't know that you liked each other, we would have thought that you all hated each other.
Yeah, that's how it's very harsh. There's something about it. It's like people who people who roughhouse. Like comedians don't physically roughhouse, but we're just mean to each other. Shut up. Like true disgust. But there's a love with it, and when you behave that way with someone who's not like one of the acts especially the Comedy Cellar. You forget how harsh that seems to be.
Oh, yeah. Everybody that comes in from California really gets their feelings hurt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that bit's terrible. We used to take each other to Hack Court. Did I tell you that last time? No. Years ago. We'd stand outside the Boston Comedy Club down the street. It would be Keith Robinson, myself, Patrice, fucking Bobby Kelly, Kevin Hart, and we would just stand around and all we would do is talk about each other's bits that we thought stunk. And like you would have to defend your bit in front of the other 5 comics, and you were in Hack Court, and nobody wanted to admit their bit stunk. So you'd fight for your bit, and once in a while you'd have to drop one if the other comedians agreed you stink and you're a fucking hack for doing that shit. But it makes you better. I remember I was on stage doing some awful joke, and Colin Quinn happened to be walking through, and as I'm doing the punchline, he went, "Good one, lazy."
So, Kevin Hart, whatever happened to that poor son of a bitch? Is he still there?
It's funny. Like, yeah, he's doing 2 arenas tonight, but is he happy?
Seems it.
Yeah, he sure does. And Kevin has a giant cock, too. That's the worst. He does. He's notorious. Him and Artie Fuqua had the biggest dicks in stand-up comedy. Artie you could see because he's 6'11", but fucking Kevin Hart has a giant dick, so I figured I would just add to his resume.
Yeah, we're always breaking news stories here on Unmasked.
Absolutely. Patrice was cranky and Kevin's hung. Wow.
That's so fun. By the way, I want to bring this up because our friend Jim Norton here, Esquire magazine just said that you're at the peak. You're at your creative peak.
Yes. I did. I read that. I read that miserable. And if they would have found me hanging by the neck, they would have seen that article open on my laptop. Not that I'm doing okay. Because my relative comparison, it's weird in our business. You know what I mean? It's whether if you're in radio, you're like, well, fucking look what Stern has done, or if you're a stand-up comic, it's like, well, look at Kevin, or even Amy and Louie and all these people who are legitimately funny. Like, you can't even hate the business when you see people like that succeeding, or Bill Burr, because they're like funny people and they kill on stage. So you see that, you're like, fuck, man, I'm a complete failure. But it's not rational. It's just, it's like a lawyer who's doing really well looking at, F. Lee Bailey and going, I stink. Maybe you do compared to him, but compared to other lawyers.
I think it's kind of rational. I think you're right when you're comparing, Amy's doing an arena tour now, right?
She is doing an arena tour, yeah.
And you're doing the biggest tour. Am I right? This is your biggest headlining tour?
No, it's the biggest one I've done in a long time. But I've done bigger rooms years ago. 13, 12 years ago, I did the Tower Theater in Philly. I did the Orpheum in Boston. But then I went into clubs because I would shoot a special I kind of wanted to do once a year for the last few years.
Yeah.
But so clubs, you can bang out the material, but it was like I couldn't do the clubs anymore. It's just the money's not as good, and I'm like, it fucking stinks. I'd rather just, me and Club Soda Kenny are on the road, and that's always uplifting. The ticket counts aren't good. I know. Even good news sounds sad from him. It looks like you hit bonus. Oh, I should be killed. Oh, that's good.
But you go everywhere with Kenny, right?
I do, yeah. Kenny, it's draining for him, too. He toured, he was with Dice for so many years. And also he's a fucking cop. So he had this exciting life at one point where, you know what I mean? He's almost a lieutenant in the police force. He's carrying a gun. He's on a bus with Dice, on a jet with, doing arenas.
Right.
And now, he's in Jacksonville. They should do a documentary about Kenny and, how fucking far his life has gone. And I think the documentary's about me, but it's really about how shitty things are for him that he's stuck with me.
But he's never in a bad mood, Kenny, right? He's always seems like he's up about stuff.
It's hard to tell. It's like trying to figure out if a piranha likes your joke. My remark about Kenny, my line about Kenny, I felt it was accurate. I said he had the people skills of a hornet. And he's just very blunt. Kenny's a very blunt guy, but he's not a liar. Kenny he doesn't lie. He's not good. Sometimes you want someone who can bullshit a little bit, but that's Kenny's fatal flaw, is that he's just not a liar. He's an honest fucking guy.
Yeah. And he doesn't know how to lie. He hasn't. Yeah. He's not creative enough to pull off a lie. That's his thing. Absolute. What I see is exactly what's happening.
Yeah, he really does mirror image. Whatever thought he had, I don't want to say no filter, because he there's times when he doesn't want to hear it. And he has a way of telling you, if I'm talking about my body fucking dysmorphia issues, and I'll be like, oh, my stomach, I'm fat. I don't know, should I eat something? Treat yourself. He says that, but I'm like, you think I don't know what you're doing? You're telling me to shut the fuck up and just eat. I know you don't want to hear it.
So you check with Kenny whether or not you should have food.
Yeah, I never really thought of it that way, but so I guess that's what I'm doing. I'm looking to a man with autism for sustenance.
Hey, by the way, is Milkshake on the Vice show? Is that on Dice's new show?
Oh,
is that based on Kenny, or?
I hope so. I hope that Club Soda became Milkshake. If Dice is just so uncreative, he has to stay in the beverage family. Hey, I need a nickname for the black guy with one arm. Hey, ice cream float. But I don't know if it's based on Kenny. I've only seen 2 of Andrew's new show, and it's really funny.
It's great. It really is.
It's fucking great, man. I'm so happy for Dice. It's that's him. That's the guy I dealt with for all those years. That's the guy the little weird baby things he does. Like he's a funny guy to hang out with. And Kenny even told me it's great. Like we both, from knowing him, are so happy that he's doing so well.
Right. Well, he developed this. He kind of got meta, and he realizes the things that he does. Before he worked on Dice, I think, all those years, he created the Dice character. But then he figured out that Andrew's pretty fucking nuts, too.
Yeah.
And he knows how to present it. But it is that thing of, because I've heard from you and Florentine and everybody that had opened for him, he would just sometimes make you guys do shitty stuff. Just for his own amusement.
Do you know what's funny? Because I'm moving soon. Nowhere in particular. I'm just going to Iowa. I think it's time to settle down and meet a farm girl and get her pregnant and then fucking kill both of us. I don't know why I had to bring the baby into it. Just want the story to hurt more when they read about it. No, it's funny. I just was packing a box yesterday. I'm getting stuff ready, and I found the cassette, Jim and Jim doing Dice. And when I first met Dice, and I have such a love for Louis Anderson. Fucking Louis Anderson is awesome.
Love him. I'm crazy about him.
Love him. His show, I did his show when I was out in L.A. years ago in 97, and it was a clean show in the Santa Monica Pier. Voss was doing an episode, I was doing one, Florentine. And me, Florentine, Lenny Marcus, and this guy, Rich Francesi, all stayed in one room at the Wyndham Bellage Hotel, which is now the London on Sunset. So I went over to work out my little 7-minute clean TV set. I think I had done one other TV show, Friday Night Videos. So it had to be 7 clean minutes. I'm at the Comedy Store. Maureen Taryn, my manager at the time, got me a spot. And Dice walked in. So I was like, dude, because me and Florentine are obsessed with The Day the Laughter Died. We would always talk. And I was like, dude, I'm a comedian from the East Coast. I love you. And he was like, thanks. And he walked in the back. He was a fucking total dick. So nobody wanted to follow him. And I was supposed to go on or whatever. And I'm like, Dice just bumped everyone. And they're like, Frankie Pace doesn't want to go on. I'm like, I'll go on. Because the way it works at the Comedy Store is the guy who's on, he'll say to the piano player, who's next? And they'll go, Chris Rock or whoever, and you just bring them on. The comedian, it's a tag team. So I held up the payphone to Florentine. I'm like, guess who's on fucking stage? So Florentine gets to the store. Dice brings me on, a terrible intro. He's like, who's on? And they're like, Jim Norton. He goes, who? And he goes, oh, no, I know him. He's terrific. You're going to love him. Oh. After he just killed for an hour, filthy, he douches me on the intro. And did I fucking bomb. It was ugly, but it was fun to do, So I came off stage and Florentine and Andrew were talking. So we all started talking about The Day the Laughter Died, and then we started teasing Dice for how illogical these fucking jokes are. Like, what the fuck was that? It's a terrible joke. And he loved us analyzing his humor, like talking about it literally. Why was you eat a cunt in a big red chair? He just loved it. It was so silly. So he goes, you guys got to do me a favor. You got to go on stage and do this. And we did. We were like, yeah, okay. So we're in the back writing these jokes down with Dice. And then fucking, he talks to the guy. The guy doesn't want to do it. The guy who runs the store. So they bring on Jim and Jim. And we go on. And they had just seen me bomb. And now I'm on with a guy who they don't know will someday be a retarded puppet on Comedy Central. They really got their money's worth. And we're just doing the Dice line, but no context, just like little things like that. Or when one filthy line, I got this colored hooker on Mermaid Avenue. Nothing. And then Florentine would do a line. All we hear in the back is stupid Dice laughing and us bombing. And afterwards, he's like, you guys are the fucking greatest. And he wound up the next day, I think, calling us at the hotel. And I think he has he's like, I'm like, hello? And he's like, it's Dice. I thought it was Voss. I really did. And he took me and Jim shopping, and we hung out with Dice for the day, and we got Slurpees. And it was really awesome. And he wound up going, hey, you got give me your number. And I might have had a cell phone then, but I had a business card at my home number. I was like, here, I just handed it. And Jim didn't have a business card. So then Dice called me to open for him. And I think just because I happened to be the one who had the card, like, a month later he called me, and that was what started so many things. So yeah, I didn't mean to tell a long story. He would have us go on stage, and it was fun, man.
I love the idea of you being a young guy with a business card.
Yeah.
Comedian, Jim Norton.
That's exactly what it's, yeah. Yes. Giver of douche chills would have been a better. I still have, it's funny, I didn't get photos for a long time. Everybody knows what a whore I am for pictures. But, no, I know, I've kind of kept it under my hat. Once in a while, I'll tweet a special one. Look, here's dog shit Maria Shriver stepped in. But I used to get autographs. And when I met Kinnison, I got him to sign a napkin. It was really cool. I met him one time. I met Richard Pryor one time, and I got him to sign my business. I would always get guys to sign my business card because I felt like it was a personal thing for them to sign the back, but a picture would have been better.
Yeah, right. When did you get this obsession with pictures?
It's funny. I think Florentine got me on it. I am a bit of an Ozzy. I'm biased for Ozzy Osbourne.
No.
Yeah, it's one of those things I've tried not to. I don't like to talk about it or keep it. And I had never met him. And we went to MTV. This guy Frank worked at MTV, and Ozzy was doing an interview. So he sneaks us in the back. And Ozzy's scent when he walks out. If you've ever been around Ozzy Osbourne, he literally is the best smelling man. Ozzy looks like he's going to smell like vomit and shit because you know who he is. He wears this British cologne and he smells fucking amazing. So he walks by us in the hallway. And I've never been that speechless, but I couldn't talk. And that smell, it was like a fucking, there's an aura to someone like that. And he went into the bathroom. I followed him into the bathroom. It was a whole fucking thing. And then he came out and I'm like, can I have an autograph? And he's like, I got to do a TV thing then. And he walks away from me. So afterwards, we went into the back and got to actually talk to him. And I didn't know what to say. I was shaking. And he signed an autograph. And he's lovely. If you've ever met him, he's very nice to fans. And I got the autograph, and that was it. And Jim goes, get the picture. And Jim had a camera with him, and he's like, take the picture. I'm like, oh, all right. And I took a picture with Ozzy, and then I took his. And then I finally saw it. And I'm like, wow, this is really me and Ozzy. And that started Florentine started the obsession with that dumb Ozzy picture.
Sure.
I could have just fist bumped him and fucking left him alone for the rest.
You'd be a healthy person today.
Oh, I'd be great. I'd probably be married, no erection difficulties. Women with vaginas only. That sent me down a really weird road. I don't know. I need a picture. I can't get one. All right.
It's all connected for you.
It somehow is, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how. It's all just trying to, what did fucking, what did John Malkovich say? He was going to kill Clint Eastwood. When he was going to kill the president in The Line of Fire.
Yeah.
He said, why do you do it? He said, to punctuate the dreariness. Sometimes that's the best answer I've ever heard to why do you just do irrational shit. Why do I do certain things? Because things are just and you want to just fucking punch through it. I'm not going to kill the president, but if you're a young woman and you've got a cock, why not just kill any self-esteem I have? That was not a gender joke. That was a size joke.
But you were so, and it's odd to say this, you were like 10 years ahead of this transgender thing.
Yeah, or behind it, as it were. No, yeah. I was 10 years ahead publicly. I was 25 years ahead of it privately.
A friend of mine who saw one of your specials was trying to, and this is a guy who, doesn't know you, he lives down south, and he was trying to figure you out because you were doing those kind of jokes, and then your audience at the special looked more like, black t-shirt.
Sure.
It wasn't a downtown audience where that should have worked. You were doing it in front of these guys that would normally be against it. How did you get over with that material?
You know, it's funny. It's like, I think that a lot of times the audience or the audience that comes to see me, they're very aggressive, typical, white guys but they're the same as I am. They're not different than me, they're not different than other guys I know. So, I mean, they understand that. Like, how many guys look at Bailey J and go, oh, I don't know. It makes you question everything you thought you knew. You know what I mean? It's like seeing a ghost. You're like, oh my God, I've been wrong. So I don't know. I think because it's honest and I mean, a lot of them are like, maybe they don't agree with it or they don't like it or whatever. But I think if you're okay with it, they're okay with it as a crowd. Meaning, if you don't feel, I'm not embarrassed by it, other than the way I'm, as a comedian, I perform it. But I don't give I care if they laugh. I want them to laugh, but I don't care if they approve or if they agree. That's not my job. So it's like, I think if people understand that you're giving them that, they tend to relax and just enjoy what you're giving them. If they think it's funny, they laugh. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to force them to change who they are.
Sure.
I'm not preaching about their beliefs. I don't care if they're homophobes or racist. That's up to them.
I think, there's a large majority of them that thinks that you're joking.
Yeah. Hopes is a better word. Because, who wants to throw 8 CDs down the fucking dumpster? And, I think they know. I mean, they know I'm kidding at one point. There's certain stuff, but after a while, it's like, Jesus, how many times can you put on a Klan hood before people go like, all right, we get it.
Yeah. But the first time that you were open about that kind of stuff, were you nervous to take that to the stage? Or?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, yes, and in a way, no. It was almost like the stuff that always made the comedians laugh. Because comedians smell out bullshit. And again, that's the beauty of being in an environment like the Cellar, is that you have to be honest on some level with each other. Or if you come in with a phony personality,
right,
or you're the type of guy that does a bit in conversation, how you doing? Oh, my wife. Oh, you'll get iced by the other guys. Are you doing a bit? It's embarrassing to get called out for doing a bit when you're chatting. So you kind of, you learn to what makes the comedians laugh is to be honest and to be truthful and self-deprecating. So very early in my career, I was doing that and confessing and talking about hookers. And then it just started to be transgender, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My process. But the first time I ever talked about it on stage was in 2003 in, Montreal. Jeff Singer, a guy who's a booker of the festival, had a show called Confessing It. And you would talk about something you had never said. And I had talked about that, but I don't think I ever actually said it so I told 2 sex stories, and one of them, was about a girl who I fucked with no condom.
Her or you?
Well, what's good for the goose is good for the goose, Ron. Or are we ganders? I don't even know at this point. But, I did it without a rubber. But I didn't know 100%. You know what I mean? I kind of suspected, but I kind of knew. You know what I mean? It was one of those things, but I fucked behind a dumpster in Jersey. So, but yeah, but I was like, I did and it was funny. I made it funny. You got to make it funny. You can't just, no, in this day and age, nobody really gives a fuck. My fans, or people, whether the fans are just familiar with me, I don't even assume they're, they know I've been talking about stuff for a long time. It doesn't shock people. Anyone who is shocked by it, it's fucking silly.
Right.
Like, it's not shock. In the age of the internet or ISIS videos, or the fact that you can just look at brutal car wrecks or people burned alive, all on the same wonderful site. This is nothing. So who gives a fuck? And plus, half the people that say shit to you are lying anyway. If not to themselves, then to you. It's just so it doesn't really concern me, and I think that's why a lot of the people are cool with it.
Yeah.
Because I think the fans have gotten a bad rap too. Like, I really do. They're really aggressive and they like brutal fucking humor. And they're like, I don't care if it's retarded people or burn victims. They'll laugh at any type of a joke if it's funny. But People think they're these asshole barbarians, and that's just not the truth. Because they might have turned on me for other stuff, but they didn't turn on me for that.
Right. So what other stuff did they turn on you for?
Probably the fact that I swallow. I think that's what I'm joking.
Always joking about that.
Always kidding. No, I mean, when they got mad at me for not leaving with Anthony, like that type of stuff. There were not all the fans, but there were a lot of people that got very pissed off at that. So that type of stuff maybe. Or stuff I've said about, a lot of people got really mad at me because of the stance I took when I said, I'm glad the NSA is spying on people, because I think they mistook why I said that.
Right.
Well, maybe I didn't make it clear enough. Might have been my fault. So whatever, they turn on you for certain things.
But that's the difference between doing radio and stand-up, is that when you do radio, you're talking about a lot more things than just your act. When you have an act, you can sit, you can work it out. But when you're doing radio, you could just say something one day that you have no idea. People might be taking the wrong way, or just, there's certain things that if you bring it up, you're going to lose half the audience.
Yeah, I mean, and I always try to explain it, because I think if you say something like, I'm happy the NSA is spying, it's not because I like the government. It's because I think that we're a nosy fucking culture, and it annoys me. It makes me sick about us, and we should live in a place where the NSA would be dragged out into the street and killed for doing that, and wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. But we don't. We just tolerate it because that's who we are. So it was kind of a statement about, I hate how nosy we are, and I hate the fact that we fucking lynch people like Mel Gibson and Alec Baldwin and Donald Sterling for shit they said in private. But if you look into our private life, whoa, hey buddy, and that we should be as outraged by each other spying as we are by the government.
Right.
They're just us. You know what I mean? I'm not even saying that for any other reason. But that was kind of what I meant by it. And people think that I was just some shill whore of the government. It's like, no, that wasn't it at all. I find them repulsive. But yeah, I probably didn't explain it that way. I probably just said it angrily and went, and then just...
Yeah. But there's also that thing now, because of the internet, there's so many opinions out there. And you just wonder if there could have been a Sam Kinison if he was coming up today, or would they have just chopped his legs off for him long before he got a chance to get that act together?
It's a great question. They might have tried. I mean, they went after Sam pretty hard.
They did.
They hurt Dice too. The feminists hurt Dice. Because most of the feminists, and Colin Quinn made this point to me brilliantly, was that they didn't have people went after rap, but a lot of the feminists focused on Dice instead of going after rap. And they thought that was the target. And he lost his 3-picture deal. My cousin Vinny was supposed to be his. He's talked about that.
Well, also, when it's rap, a lot of those feminists are thinking, well, that's just black women. You know what I mean? That's their culture, but when it was Dice, and I went back because when I did the first Unmasked with Dice, I watched a lot of the stuff when he was really huge, and it seemed a lot more gleeful to me than it did at the time. Right?
Yeah.
At the time, I remember thinking, this is fucking kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The way, 18,000 people are just screaming out, hickory dickory dock.
Yeah.
Like a fucking bunch of lunatics, right? But when I went back and watched them, like, okay, I get it more now. It's just people like trying to take this time to just blow off steam.
Yeah, it was an event. It was a concert. It was like, most comedians you don't get to see in a concert. Now it becomes much more common.
Sure.
But when Andrew did it, it was before social media. It was before you know what I mean? It was a harder thing to do when he did it.
Yeah.
And I think it was a little bit more special because he did it just like word of mouth. He was selling
right,
out.
That's true.
He would do a month in a club and sell 400 seats, a night, every night for the month, but just by word of mouth. I mean, he had that kind of fucking rise.
And when you were touring with him, it was like still doing arenas, or
no?
Was
he was doing
after.
No, and it was a funny thing to watch because we were doing maybe 3,000 seats, 5,000 seats in Chicago. He still had a lot of ability to sell tickets, but he was always talking about the arenas and getting back into the arenas. And it was like, dude, do you not understand what a fucking great career you have? You're doing 3,000 seats. Like, yeah, okay, it's not 18,000, but god damn, just because you fucked Pam Anderson, you can't cry that you're fucking another hot girl who's just not Pam Anderson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be happy you fucked her, stupid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I always wanted him to, now he's got the show and he's kicking back into gear. But it was like, dude, he had such a great career, I think, and didn't always realize how well he was actually doing.
I love that you just dated yourself by saying Pam Anderson.
Yes, I did. There's so many more socially relevant. All right, let me give it. Kylie Jenner 5 years ago.
Now, again, that's a perfect excuse of something that could be taken out of context. If someone just grabbed that part of it, you know,
they'd be welcome to it.
Yeah,
let them. Yeah, I joked about fucking a 13. Yeah, I did. Yeah. So what? Did you lynch Kevin Bacon and the Woodsman for playing a pedophile? No, go fuck yourself. Don't tell me I can't make fun of it. You can't, with stuff like that, all this outrageous shit. Yeah. You got to meet it with revulsion. You shouldn't meet it with no, what I was trying. Really, it's a disgusting fake thing people are doing, so they should be addressed the way people are when they're doing something disgusting and fake.
All right. So Jimmy has just made it okay for us all to laugh at the Woodsman now. So,
no. I was talking about jerking off to it. I wouldn't laugh at that movie. No. But I challenge you to watch it. If it doesn't bubble a little, well, you're a better man than me. It's funny, man. About pedophiles,
Go on.
Fucking Don Wickland's in the back going, oh, no. No, it's not that. No, it's funny. That's not my thing ever. It just doesn't, innocence doesn't turn me on at all, so I don't get it. And me and Russ Benev's a comedian, were talking. I was talking about pedophiles. I was like, yeah, they should be fucking killed. And, and he goes, man, sometimes I'm lucky I don't have that demon. And I thought about that, that was such a smart way to look at it, fucking thank God, as bad as I am, and I'm a pervert, I never got, that bug didn't bite me. I can't stand kids. Pedophiles shouldn't be jailed, they should be rewarded for tolerating these little fuckers. How do you do it?
The bouncy houses alone is
oh, it's awful. Your fucking pocket knife opens, it pops. I don't get it. But I think, it's funny, because I've been talking on stage a little bit about, Charlie Sheen, obviously, and Jared from Subway and Cosby and all these people. And it's almost like, are they really people that were good people that sexual addiction just took them to this horrible, and I'm not excusing, Jared belongs in jail. If Charlie fucked women and didn't tell them he had HIV and he knew it, he should be in jail. But it's like, are these just decent people who become these fucking horrible monsters because they're addicted, man? I'm like, oof, thank fucking God it didn't get that bad. I know where my line is and my lane is, and it's, it's expensive. But it's consensual and it's adult. You know what I mean? It's look at fucking Africa Bambaataa. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say I never thought of him. He would do that. I never thought I'd be thinking of Africa Bambaataa again. But I'm amazed by how many people. That's why I don't let people who criticize whatever get to me, because everyone has so much dirt under their fingernails. Some have true dirt, and some are just a little sneaky. So you can't really believe that people are sitting there. That fucking throne, you can't buy it.
Right.
I probably could have said that smarter, and I knew I didn't have a really great point, so I crossed my arms.
That was great. When you crossed your arms, I got it. Finally.
Oh, my God. He means business. I think the mask is coming off. This guy's good.
You're free to cry now, if you need to. Well, but you always bring up prostitutes, but that's not your...
Yeah, you are. It has become a bit of a theme.
But you are in relationships from at least time to time.
Yeah, I want a relationship at this point. I don't fuck prostitutes. I joke about it, but I haven't... I don't have women, come over and fuck them. It's just too much after a while. But after you start to, the risks become greater and greater and greater. People want you to get them pregnant. People, I don't fuck drunk girls. I don't fuck drunk girls ever. It scares me. it's predatory, and I just that whole dirty for me is fucking look you in the eye and go, my ex had a bigger dick. Ooh. That hurt.
Yeah. Again, is that your ex or hers?
It's amazing how I just keep backing into these. But for me, dirty is a conscious, like, a focused. It's always the mentality. So if someone's incapacitated, fucking loaded, it doesn't turn me on. It feels weak and like it does nothing for me. But it's also, it's how you get in trouble too. So I've avoided a lot of trouble on the road. Believe it or not, even though I've done all these stupid things, I've never knocked anybody up. I've never fucking forced anybody to do anything. Again, you have to know what your lane is and stay in it. But I kind of want a girlfriend at this point. Like, not one in particular, but I would like to be in one. A relationship because I'm not lonely. I mean, I got a lot of friends, but I mean, I miss the familiarity. Like, I see Bobby and his wife, Dawn, and they have a son, and I don't necessarily want a kid at this point, but the idea of just having that person that you watch Game of Thrones with, you talk about how you, that fucking guy hit on you and I didn't do anything, but I could kick his ass. You point to Peter Dinklage. Someone like that, someone familiar.
Yeah, but you've lived alone for so long, you get stuck in you create a life, because you're very adamant about your schedule. I mean, you do stand-up every night. You're in doing radio in the morning.
Yeah.
You have your workout time, all that kind of stuff. That kind of becomes your life at that point.
Yeah, and it's really hard. Like, if I have someone come and stay for a day or two, by the second day I notice it. And it's not that I don't like them there. I have to adjust to another person. Like, not that I want to do anything. Mm-hmm. You can only shit in a diner so many times. Fucking, that's what I miss about a relationship, is being able to shit and then laugh as my girlfriend walks in the bathroom after me. That's what I miss.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Like my ex-girlfriend.
You got me crying now.
My fucking ex one time, I took a rotten one, and she fucking goes, I was almost fucking late for work because of your shit smell. Because she couldn't go in and brush her teeth. I was so happy.
Yeah.
But I miss traveling with somebody. Like, if I have to go to LA for something, it would be kind of cool to go with someone, have a girl come and, just hang out. And that's the shit I miss.
Right.
Just the friendship.
Yeah. Well, that's never going to happen.
No, I know. You got that right. It's funny. No, you don't have to feel bad. I've had this conversation in the mirror, and that's always the conclusion we come to.
But to me, it's the same way if he would told me he was going to make the NBA one day. Someone has to point out to you, it's too fucking late.
Oh, God, he's fucking... I really am dreaming like I'm 22 again. Oh, I'm finished. I'm never going to have one. You're right.
Yeah.
It could be worse.
Well, the last time, we did the Unmasked thing, it was with O&A, and it was like a celebration. It was that 20 years.
Oh, my God. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was everybody... Oh, yeah. It was like a wonderful, wonderful day. And then 2 weeks later, we found out they were both lying about everything that they told us.
Yeah. And boy, the fans got mad at the stepson, didn't they?
But we all kind of had to make that adjustment. Every comedian who did the show, everybody that was friends with him, worked with him. But you were the arrow point of that whole thing.
Well, it's funny. Like, for me, it wasn't news. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for the rest of the people, it was news. But I had functioned in that environment for so long. I kind of knew when they were getting along and when they weren't. But it's pretty amazing. People, they were being fake. But, part of it was they did a show for years, probably beyond where they would have if they had just the first time they said, fuck you. You know what I mean? So... Yeah. It stinks. I still miss the old days and the way it was very much. But, yeah, no, I know. You're right. She said we all do, and you're right. It's one of those things where the fans have gone crazy, and it's a tremendous loss. But I feel it, too. You know, I feel it. What do you think? I don't feel it? Like, miss joking with Anthony? Of course I do. And it's not, people shit on Opie, you know, it's all Opie, but it's not, you know what I mean? It was a marriage, and it's easy to blame one fucking guy. Oh, it was him. But it wasn't just him. You know what I mean? It was I watched it. I was there. So when I hear people, I don't care if people think Anthony's a fucking a creep and they hate him, or they fucking think Opie's think they hate him or they hate me. That's cool. But it's when they start to get into, well, this is what was going on. It's like, I fucking sat there for 4 hours a day and watched what was going on. And I'm telling you, you're wrong. You know, it wasn't just one guy's fault.
Well, we were talking about a relationship and a marriage, and weirdly, doing radio together, two people sitting in a fucking box 4 hours a day is more intense than anything you go through in a marriage, because you could walk in the other room, or you could go back and drink, or whatever the hell you do. But when you're in that thing, the stress is always there, even when it sounds great.
Yeah, but I noticed this. People asked me the last time. Opie and I had an argument on the air a while ago, and it was a long one. It was a 90-minute.
Yeah. Because my phone started, are you listening to this?
Yeah.
It's happening again!
Yes. And that was me and Opie separately texting him.
Who was that text meant for, though?
You know, but the people like, did you guys ever talk that over? What happened was, the next day, when you see each other, you have to go on the radio together. So whatever you talk, you don't look at, but it's a weird thing, because other jobs, whatever you guys do for a living, you fight with your boss, or you fight with someone, you can avoid them, you know, maybe see them and getting coffee. Right. You don't have to collaborate creatively with them, with people listening. So you immediately have to start communicating in one way or another. It doesn't mean you're going to be friends. Eventually it smoothed over and it was fine. But you just begin okay, we are in this situation where we have to, you know, we're not stupid. You know, it's our job. You know, when you get paid a lot of money to fucking do an easy job. And, you know, it's a relatively easy job, so I don't want to fuck it up.
But it is the same. Everybody who's ever been on a long distance car trip, it's like that, where you're like, you put up with each other for a while, and then finally, just about the time you hit Florida, you're just like fucking pulling off the road.
Yeah.
You motherfucker, get out!
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it fucking feels like.
And it really sucks because you left from Georgia.
But it probably would be healthier if you did it every state, you know?
Yeah.
But people try to make it, you know, a pleasant situation. So right now, Ant is on vacation.
Yes.
Getting a tan.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. But you and I went and did that kind of farewell show with him, which was a very strange thing, too, to see him going through that transition.
Yeah, well, he and I have always talked. I mean, we in touch several times a week since he's left. I mean, I've never stopped talking to Anthony. And we went and had dinner after the whole last incident where he had the thing with Danny. You know, he and I went to dinner a while later. Because, you know, it's like, he's my friend and I love him, but when you're watching your friend, no matter how much you love somebody, when you're watching them self-destruct, it's hard to be around. And I can't rescue people, and I can't save people. I wish I could. There's a lot of people I would have stepped in for, you know, and a lot of people I wanted to get sober and I wanted to fix, but I can't.
Right.
And, you know, we both understand the power we have and the power we don't, you know. So he and I went to dinner, we were just talking about it, and talking about race and all that stuff. And it was like, that's what I've wanted to hear from Ant for so long. I felt good for him. Like, I knew this is a month before he went to rehab, but he told me he was going to do it. And I knew he meant it. And I knew that he wasn't bullshitting, or if he was just doing a brilliant job of it, and he got over on me. But we were just talking about, like, the rants and, you know, just the whole thing, man. And he just seemed like a guy who was like, yeah, like every time there's been an issue, it's been because of this, of drinking. You know, and I was just happy to see him come to that place, you know. So I hope it works for him. Because, you know, not just as a radio guy, but it's like, you know, I worked with him for 10 years. We were close for 10.
Right.
More than that, but I mean the last decade, you know, so I'm concerned with my friend, too.
Yeah, and also, you know, because of, yeah. But also a lot of people...
What am I going to say?
Yeah. But a lot of people, for you to stay sober, for anybody to stay sober, you have to be available to people at that exact moment when they need you. A lot of people get mad about that. And you go, don't you remember all the other things? You're like, yeah, I'm a fucking dick too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why, that's when you support people, probably when they're not doing great.
Yeah, it's easy to support him when he's doing great, and but again, when you're friends with somebody, when somebody reaches out for help, you know, or in his own way, I'm responsible for that. Like to be there and you know, it's like I've been given a really good life, and I'm really lucky, and he was a big part of it, and he still is. So it's like if he, you know. You got to help them. You have to. It's an obligation, and it's more important to me than my job even. And it's not because I'm some maverick who says fuck serious. I love working inside. I really do. They're okay with me. They let me do what I want. They let me travel and do my gig. But that to me is I wouldn't be a comic if I was doing. I would have fucking threw myself in front of a train years ago.
You actually believe that about yourself?
Yeah, and it's not melodrama. You know, a lot of guys are dramatic when they quit drinking. For me, I would have drunk, drove, and killed somebody. Or killed myself, or I would have just committed suicide. You know, that would have happened so many years ago. There never would have been any of this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would have been a non-event. You know, it would have just been one more. You know, it wouldn't have been. But that's what it would have been. So I'm very realistic about that.
But if you did it now, front page headlines.
Yeah, maybe on smaller websites. Esquire. You know? That's a big site, but you know. Oh my God, the buzz on Grindr. Oh, there'd be tears with women tucking all over the country. Daddy put me through college.
Actually, and we'll move on now. You had a pretty exciting night last night. You shot a pilot, right?
I did, yeah. And boy, did Chip Chippers want to just come out right there. Yeah, it was the first one I did for IFC. I'm really happy with how it came out. It was a talk show, and they wanted me to do a talk show for them. And I did two. I shot two over the course of one night, and IFC loved it. And we gave them exactly what they wanted, and they approved all the bits. And then it went to AMC, and they didn't pick up anything that they shot this year for IFC. And they're like, "We like him, and here's what we would like to do with him. We would like to do an opinion-based thing." Where it's like 30 minutes on the same show. They're like, there's a million white guys with talk shows. How do you get people to watch another fucking talk? And they weren't, it's like weird. I didn't want to hear that, but I was like I knew they were right. So the thing I'm doing is kind of an opinion-based thing where I take one subject and break it down, hopefully more than once. So we did white privilege this week, because it's not an easy subject to be funny about. But I think we pulled it off.
Yeah.
I hope we did.
Well, I'm sure Ant will disagree with you, but that's...
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? He is white privilege. Fucking guy drove down the LIE doing 200 with a cannon on the roof.
Complaining about minorities the whole way.
Yeah. I know. Of course, the road isn't good. It's blacktop. You know, all right.
So the hope is to do this show once a week?
Again, yeah, I would love to, sure. I feel good about it, and I'm very harsh on myself, and I'm always think what I do is fucking, I have a problem with it, I'm not happy with it, I don't want to promote it. But this one I felt good about, like I was like, okay, man, I think we were going to do, the writers were really funny. We had, Kurt Metzger wrote, Bonnie McFarlane was a writer, this guy Tom Johnson, Ian Edwards, and this guy, dude Nick Mullen, who's a younger comic, and a psychopath, but a really fucking smart, funny guy. So the writers were awesome.
Is Metzger writing everything on the East Coast these days, though?
He's just, he's a weird, like, you won't hear from him for 12 hours. You know, he's always late. You know what I mean? He's always frazzled, smoking his fucking stupid electronic cigarette with his Garfield eyes. He's a real creeper. But he's very prolific.
Oh, nice.
You know, and he writes well for me. Like, a lot of guys write for me and they try to write too dirty. Like, they try to write stuff like, you know what I mean? And then I fucked a baby and threw it in front of a butt. And I'm like, this is a network show. Like, save that for my documentary. But they write too dirty, and Kurt's dirty, but I think he's really funny dirty, and he's honest dirty. I love how he writes. And even once in a while he'll write something like, no, I can't. But like when even jokes you don't use, you understand that's the tone I like. He writes in a great, he's very harsh. He throws big fucking, punches when he writes. He's really good. So he's a guy that people use.
And you did this Indiegogo thing for Chip, right?
I did, yeah. Oh, what a success. But, it was, the thing with the Indiegogo thing, it was, we asked for $200,000. I didn't want to ask $200,000 at all. There was a company you go to, Indiegogo. They were very nice. They were very honest. Nobody was trying to be shitty. And I met this guy and he runs the page. He starts the page. He goes, I think he's done big campaigns. You should ask for $200,000 because, man, a lot of times you have to pay out the shipments and the fucking merchandise that you're promising people. And he goes, that can cut into a third of your money. So I'm like, all right, I could probably do the whole project for about 100. But if I get extra money after I pay everything and I have like an extra 40,000 or 50, I'll fucking upgrade the animation or I'll do an extra episode. It was never going to go in my pocket. Mm-hmm. People think I was going to steal it. So we wound up getting 60 grand, which I was literally fine with. I mean, the fact is, people don't want to fund something. Like, do it yourself if you fucking believe in it. So they gave me 60 grand. I have to pay out a lot of the perks, which my manager is organizing all of that. There's hundreds of people. And so all that stuff will be sent out. I'll probably have 40 left, and I'll make as many episodes as I can. But people had some good criticism of it. Some of it was just people being dicks, but some of it was right. Like, I see Chip. Anyone who thought that didn't represent Chip, you have to realize that represented Chip better than anything you've ever seen. But you don't see Chip like that. I forget that people see him different. I live this fucking asshole. Like, that's the world and that's it, and people blame my ex Jen, like, oh, she fucked it up. Chip wouldn't exist this long without. Do you understand the amount of text messages she gets from Chip? I'll be having a real conversation with her, and I'll just write her. She'll be like, oh, that was really funny. And then she'll just get, what I say. And she writes back, fucking Chip, stop hijacking the compliment. She talks to him. Like the fact that Chip's a compulsive liar, that came from him. So there's so many things. But I listen to people because the people who see it from the outside see it different than me. And a lot of them said that they didn't like Chip being in that scripted sense. And I understood that. Because when I saw Borat, I didn't like the movie. And it wasn't that it wasn't good. It made $100 million. But I liked Borat when I knew it was unscripted, when I knew it was totally free. Mm. And even though a lot of Borat was unscripted, I felt like the movie had I just didn't like that there was a story. There was no way he could have fixed that to make me happy because the basic core of it, I wanted different. So if that's the issue with certain people, they'll never. But I may have figured out a way to incorporate some outside stuff with Sam's the guy I want to sit down and talk to because Sam interacts with Chip very well. I have not given up on the animation.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know which one is more annoying. Chip or Sam.
Fuck yeah, he's a piece of garbage. You ever hear his show? It's like listening to fucking, like lights get hot or something. Yeah. I love, by the way, people will yell for me to do Chip on stage, and I do him on stage, and I do fucking Kirk and Uncle Paul. And it's so funny when I do Chip, and a lot of times, like, I know they're expecting something good, and he'll be like fucking, like it's literally, he'll look at the hat, NY, New York, what do you think you're a state? And it's like, wow, he really stinks. Yeah, he does. He's not an anti-hero like Alex in Clockwork Orange. He's an unfunny bag of shit who ruins everything. So I want to capture what makes people like him. So I really did read a lot of the comments on Facebook and email and stuff, and I didn't agree with all of them, but I was open to it because people who love Chip and were harsh about it see him in a way that I don't, so I want to kind of figure out what that is. But that's still happening. I still want to do it. Because I'm never going to not do dumb Chip. And if I do more episodes and it goes nowhere, I already have an option to sell it. There's somebody who wants to do it. I just don't know if I want to do it where this person wants me to do it. I may just want to do it on the internet so they can't tell me don't do Uncle Paul. And Jelly, the kid, nobody knew who the kid was, but I do Jelly as much as I do Chip when I'm chatting with Jen, and Uncle Paul always wants to molest Jelly. And literally, she'll be like, Jim, fucking stop. Like, it's not funny to her. Like, I'll say it'll be like, Jelly will write like child, like letters to her. Like, Uncle Paul, told me to go with his friend to the hotel, and she gets so fucking mad that Uncle Paul has prostituted this 5-year-old who doesn't exist.
This is like 10 times weirder than you blowing hookers.
Yeah, well, those things aren't mutually exclusive, Ron.
So, the company that you kind of turned down, Pixar, you really, but this will just be you.
No, it wasn't Pixar. See how Chip has no irony, just ruins the moment.
Yeah. But this will just be you releasing this on the internet yourself.
Yeah, basically like I've done everything else for 26 years, just tossing a frisbee into indifference. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But either way, it's like I'm okay. I like the act I'm doing now. I'm creatively, I hate to say creative, but it's like I'm very fucking busy. And it's like I probably had the busiest 2 months I've had in my entire career in this last couple of months between the getting ready to move and fucking doing the Chip animation and getting ready to shoot another special. It's going well. And I still find ways to be depressed about it, miserable and self-hating, but it's irrational. Like, life is very good.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that with you because Louis C.K. and Amy Schumer are doing so great. So I had no... So you've been doing stuff too. That's great, Jimmy. That's great.
Yeah, but Louis, like... I mean, who the fuck wants to deal with 17,000 people in a night?
It's too much.
Oh, God, does he have a good career. But no, it's funny. When you look at those guys, those are the relative comparisons. So it's easier to feel shitty. But I feel really, I just feel great about where things, like, and I'm not a guy good at taking lemons and making I'm really not. I'm good at taking lemons and squeeze them into the cut on my dick. I'm not pick myself up by my bootstraps. I'm wallowing it, motherfucker. That's the guy. But when I'm logical and I look at it, and I look at a lot of the guys I started with, the majority of them have stopped doing comedy, or they never. It's funny. Weird things snap you into it. Colin said something when he did the keynote address in Montreal a couple years ago. I think it's something I'm paraphrasing, but it's something that I wish I was still grateful that I make a living doing this. Like, if you'd I forgot how important that was at one point, just to be being a comedian. And it's all I ever wanted to do. It's the only dream I ever had was to be a comic. And I got it, and I make a good living at it, and I have fun doing it, and yet I still find a reason to fucking snivel. And it's just like, shut the fuck up, you ungrateful twat. Like, I get really mad at myself for being so ungrateful when I've been given so much, And I work for it, but it doesn't matter. A lot of guys work for it and nothing happens. A lot of it's good luck too,
Sure.
So it's like sometimes you got to remind yourself, like when new guys come up to me, and they're like, dude, I'm 35 and I always wanted to do it. I'm just like, just do it. Just fucking try it. I always encourage new guys, and I'm always heartbroken by guys who started and then quit. Because I got married, I didn't want to do it anymore, but I'm coming back now 15 years later. Not that getting married was wrong for them, but the fact that I feel like they gave up on their dream. And that one makes me very grateful that I didn't do that. Like, I've done a lot of shit wrong, but that's one thing I didn't do wrong.
Right.
It's like you look at that like, all right.
Right, but at the same time, that's
arenas, yeah.
Yeah, not just arenas. But they also have a personal life that you were talking about earlier that you actually gave up for this.
I did, but the advice show straightens me out on that one when they call in. My wife don't want to fuck me. So I hear a lot of bad stuff too.
Yeah.
So I don't look at married couples and go, "Oh, you lucky dogs." I'm just like, it'd be kind of nice to be in a relationship. I'm not obsessed with it. Because I hear so many bad things happen. And how do you not cheat with fucking Tinder and Facebook and Twitter and all these ways of connecting and communicating and hooking up with people? It's very difficult to not lose focus on the person you're with.
Right.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
At least that's what every girl I fuck tells me.
Well, we got to wrap this up, but it was really a lot of fun to
thank you for
just
having
sitting
me.
down and talking to you again, man.
Yeah, I loved it. I forgot we did the one with O&A too. I thought we hadn't done it since 2007.
Yeah, we did the. Oh yeah, you're always good with numbers. That's great.
Yeah.
I always forget.
I should be better with them considering how much they come into play in my life. You said 250.
Well, I'm gonna give you something that you brought up. October. Have you decided? Do you know?
I don't know. Sirius contacted my agent to talk, but I just don't know. I'm not a good negotiator. There's something else I'm going to do, which hasn't been announced yet. It's unrelated to Opie and Anthony. It's not interfering with Opie and Anthony either, or as people, but. I don't know what I'm going to do with Sirius. I mean, I may stay, but they haven't come with anything, so I don't know. Part of me thinks they want me to go. I'm paranoid about that shit.
Sure.
So, no, I'm not saying. I don't mean like that. I'm always saying my own thoughts.
Yeah. Well, your thoughts and also management.
Yeah. Please. they look at the money. They'll say like the fans will get over it. They're not going to cancel. We still have hits one. I've never been delusional about my power in the business.
Yeah, that's true, right? No one should be.
No, when I say I'm going to walk, people always let me.
Well, it's time to walk now. Jim Norton, everybody. Let him in.
Thank you.